How's it going, citizens of the Reject Nation? John here for a solo movie reaction. Thank you for joining me. We're going to watch Prey, the 5th film in the Predator standalone franchise. I'm very excited for this. Really enjoyed the trailers. Really excited to see how this take plays out. I love the time and place they've chosen to set it in, so we'll see. Obviously, it's hard to top the original Predator. Dylan is one of my all-time favorite movie meme moments, and I got love for Predators as well. And I could never forget AVP, the movie that unfortunately taught me in the heat of a trivia match the difference between the Arctic and Antarctica. So that's a thing. But anyhow, Greg and I were originally going to check this out together, and unfortunately the Vid Diesel caught up with us, and we also had a round of press interviews to do with the cast, director, and producer, so he unfortunately had to go off ahead of me, so I am catching up now. But if you haven't seen those interviews, please go give them a look. Greg did an excellent job. And actually, after shooting all of this, we were given the opportunity to cover the red carpet premiere for Prey, do some interviews there, meet the actual cast and crew in person. It was a very, very cool experience. So if you want to check some of that out, it's on the channel as well. So check those out if you haven't seen those. And as always, if you could leave a like on this video, that would help out a lot, as well as just a comment including your thoughts on the movie or anything else you want to talk about. Subscribe, hit that notification bell to get notified every single time something interesting comes out on the channel. You will be informed. And if you'd like to get the full experience, go beyond the reaction highlights, you can come on over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/therealrejects. That's where you can sync up with your own copy, enjoy the full movie alongside me, or a bunch of other shows and movies that we have exclusive reaction highlights as well as watch-alongs for. Last but not least, cannot forget the folks over at Prepper for handling these highlights, cutting them down, making them look all nice for you guys. Very much appreciate them. And yeah, without further ado, man, let's watch us some Prey.
A long time ago, it is said, a monster came here.
Ooh. Okay. It's like a folk tale. Oh. Wonder just how many reactions the first time people see the dog, they go, oh. Blue on those flowers really pops. Freaking sound effects, man. You want to go out to one of those axe throwing ranges. It's just satisfying sound. Whoa. Oh. No! At least it's just a tail, though. Ah, still. Yeah, you knew that wasn't an ordinary thunderstorm.
I remember when Father told me I was ready for Katamia. I went up into the hills. The rain was bad. Everything was wet. We crawled through the mud and my bowstring got ruined and...
Cool story. Ah, yeah.
You were sleeping.
Now you're gonna have to cross the river to get it.
It's time. I'm ready for my katamia.
You want to hunt something that's hunting you.
Uh-huh. There's a theme for you. I guess that is the true battle, is if you can outwit something that's coming for you specifically. Attention to detail is awesome.
Petsa.
Trained him well. It's easy. He's smart. Not every smart creature's easy to train.
Like you, most likely.
Your father left you that to cut breadroot with.
I almost got a deer with it.
Why do you want to hunt?
Because you all think that I can't.
Fair.
In this wind, he brings home a red tail.
Of course. Meanwhile, this dude's just cruising around, looking for a place to park. Oh. The game is afoot. Each little predator, at least thus far, like each little predator appearance has been really well like spaced out. I keep getting lulled into just like the life on display.
Hina!
A lion. He took Pui. You gotta find him.
Who invited you? We won't be gone long enough to need a cook.
Hey, Missy! How about some sandwiches?
She tracks well. If we find Pui alive, she knows medicine.
Yeah, bro. Oh. Ah, yeah. I'll fight a snake. I don't care. That was a very clever bit. So cool. I love the rhythm with which they're depicting all these things, like how resourceful they are and how like synchronized they are.
Tabe wants to stay and hunt. Let's go.
I'm coming with you.
I can handle the lion.
It's not just the lion.
I've got this.
We don't have time to waste talking. We need to get him home.
Yeah, quiet, Lois. Men are talking. So many beautiful shots in this movie. Like, jeez.
Okay. The cold is good. The medicine slows his blood. If he gets warm, he'll bleed out. Hey. Do you want him to be comfortable or alive?
Mia!
You knew that was coming, Pete. Snake's been waiting there all day, like I got one left in me. One good death rattle. Oh.
Look.
Could be bear tracks.
Maybe. But that's a big bear. And why was it on its hind legs? And what skins a snake like that?
We need to keep moving.
No, I have to warn my brother.
Paka, go with her.
What do I gotta go with her?
Why'd you come back?
I found tracks. And they were huge.
I'm not frightened by a bear.
I don't think it was a bear.
Or whatever it was. We're in the cat's den now. We have to deal with it first.
Now's your shot.
It'll think it's hunting us.
A hunter doesn't wait. He hunts. We could be here all night.
We could stalk the forest all night and not find anything, too.
We'll bait it. Then I'll lead the cat to you. It's time, Naru. You cut the mia. When the lion comes, you tell that thing, this is as far as you go. No more. This is it.
As far as you go, no more. This is it. Like, each time I'm afraid it's gonna go that way, like, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I like their relationship so far. Which is also why I'm afraid he's about to get murked, like, right now.
You've never faced a lion. Its mouth full of teeth like arrows, ready to tear your flesh. When your brother comes back, he and I will find the lion and kill him.
Whoa! This is a good jump scare. Oh, cool! Oh, damn! What a shot. Damn. That is a lion. Jesus, man, the shots. Oh no. Ow.
Your brother carried you home. You think the reason for Kotamia is to prove you can hunt? But there's only one reason: to survive.
Oh. That's a sage way of looking at that, actually. The hunt isn't the full picture. Whoa. Whoa, Jesus.
You did it.
We didn't do it. What do you think left those tracks? And before I fell, I saw lightning in the trees.
Naru.
There's something else. Okay, well, I'll hunt alone if I have to.
You can't. You're right. We didn't do it. I did. You tried it. You couldn't bring it home.
Oh, War Chief gonna have his day.
If they don't see, we'll show them. Gima.
I wonder how they lit this movie. Like, a lot of this looks really, really natural. Which I guess has become sort of a meme lately, but it looks really great here. It looks really beautiful. Nice match cut. These aerial shots and these landscape shots, like, it feels like you're watching some kind of, like a Ken Burns documentary crashed into, like, a nature special or something. I wonder, I gotta check the is this movie rated R for goo? It's a big foot. Wow. Oh. Oh. Whoa, dang. A little green in his teeth. Her teeth, their teeth. Friggin' squaring off. Don't go for, no, don't. Oh. 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 Dude, what the fuck? So Mortal Kombat of you, bro. Jesus. Prey is a really good title for this movie. Like, so much food chaining all around. Yes. Oh, cool. Does that mean we're gonna get like an elaborate dog hunting scene? Chew stick. Gotta get your oral hygiene. Jeez. What national park did they shoot this in, or was it just Canada? Brutal. Very metal. He's a scout too. He's collecting belt loops. Ah, so cool. That's so awesome. Ugh. Yeah, something didn't look right. Ugh. Ugh. My stogie. I know I left that cigar here somewhere. Oh no. Of course. Oh. Well, this looks like it was fun to shoot. It's like PETA in the Hunger Games with the cake frosting. It's blending in. Huh? Hey! Well done. This movie has a very cool sound design. Expressive sound design. And now she's covered in mud. Clever. Sorry, it took me a second. Okay, less covered in mud. This dog is really good too. Like, they call them animal actors. I'm like, in this case, I'm like, yeah. He's a very good boy. Whoa, that is a scar and a half. Oh no. Shit. And now it becomes the edge. Who's afraid of the bear now? This bear's been here this whole time, like, I heard what you said. Who was afraid of a bear? I'll show you who's afraid of a bear. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be sitting there going, as long as the dog's okay. You can massacre as many rabbits, bears, buffalo, whatever. Protect the dog. Oh my God. Oh, damn. Oh, he caught up. Oh, shit. Oh. 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 It's like, all right. Let that be a lesson to you. Oh, shit. Oh, Jesus. Okay, that. That is pretty friggin' metal. Jesus Christ. Oh. So much for that camo, boy. Ugh.
Looking for you. Your brother sent us to bring you home.
I saw what left those tracks. I couldn't see it until it was covered in blood, but it looked like a moot beats.
It fought and killed a bear with its hands easily.
How come it didn't kill you?
Thanks, bro. Ow. Jesus.
You wanna leave? Then leave.
Oh. Ah.
There's something out
Man,
there.
just working up here. I like to think the Predator collects this footage and then does like silly voiceovers. Oh. Stupid possums. Don't even believe that possum's dead, though. You know how they are. Wow. Whoa! Oh, shit. Come on, you got a clever trick up your sleeve. Oh, no. Ugh, gotta conserve those darts, man. Oh. That faceplate, holy shit. Oh, no. Always taking heads, man. Woo. Oh, no. Oh. Yeah, you want to talk battle cries? I really am enjoying the way that they're using the cloaking. Jesus. Is that what it sounds like to be in the Predator's helmet?
We have him. No. He has us.
No. Ooh. Yeah, that was close. Oh, you can't outrun. Yeah, I was gonna say, ooh, you can't outrun Predator. Oh, jeez. Oh, that's fucking spray. Oh, Chekhov's bear trap. God damn it. Oh. Oh no.
No.
Are they French? Oh, you better be careful with that dog. This guy.
You killed the buffalo.
Yeah, in the most fucking wasteful way possible. It's a great gag, too, because at first you're like, oh, did Predator do that? And you're like, oh, wait, maybe not. Nope, that's just us.
I think this creature is a hunter. If you were smart, you'd help us.
Sans-la sauvage! Sautez-lui de la sacrée pointe!
I heard something about a savage. Oh, no! Oh, do they have him, too? Oh, jeez.
Are you hurt?
It's like raiders.
That's what you went out after? It's what you were tracking?
Yes.
And that's what you chose for Katami.
Oh. God, great use of perspectives, man.
Non, qu'est-ce qui se passe?
Qu'est-ce qui arrive?
Qu'est-ce qui arrive? Robert!
Oh.
Gee, Robert!
This is a great way to play into like the slasher movie quality.
It's coming.
Oh! Ha! That is so cool.
We're the bait. He's coming for us.
No. It doesn't want bait. It doesn't hunt that way. Before the trappers captured me, it saw me and then left. It didn't think I was a threat.
Oh. See, you're not a Mary Sue.
Your plan. The tree. You weakened it. You had it, Naru.
Oh.
You can see what I miss. You always have.
I don't know that this thing can be killed.
The lion, though, they did it together.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Oh, oh damn. Snuck it right in there, dude. But like, oh. It's a perfect capper on that scene. Oh my god.
Naru. Naru!
Oh, that's so freaking cool. Oh, yeah, nah, bro. Sorry. Good effort. Oh. 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 Remember old guns? Remember muskets? Remember reload time? Oh. Oh, that bone blast, dude. Oh. Get the head cock. He's like, yeah, it's a good kill. It's a good kill. Oh, the fucking ricochet.
Please.
Losing his leg to be free.
Wait. Naru. What are you doing, Naru? Naru, stop!
Huh?
I'll get Seti.
Parkour. These guys are all really well cast. Like, they feel like they're out of a different time. Yes, this will go well. Keep on watching. The show's about to begin. Oh, shit. Badass. This is a really cool movie, man. This is really cool. Like, they still got to stick the landing, but so far, like, it's nice to have, like, a really punchy, solid Predator movie.
Ça coûte mieux que le castor.
No. Oh! Yeah. Oh! God, the way they shoot this action, too. Like, oh! Oh! Jesus! Oh! Oh! Jesus! Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Oh. Oh. I swear, a little hatchet with the The rope on it is coolest fucking tweak. God, well done with the focus, like hiding him out of sight. Oh, ow, ooh.
Help me, and I'll show you how to use it. Please.
This guy looks kind of like the Geico caveman.
Take the powder and put it in the gun. Not too little, not too much. Pull that back, and it will fire.
That's all?
Yeah, you need, I don't know, to create a spark.
What is
it? Shut up and take your medicine.
I'm freezing cold.
Are you still a threat? Oh my god. Yes, possum. And the Predator surveyed the wreckage with the coldest blue outlook, as if to say that he is one and the same with the thermal readout on his screen that with which he sees all of life. Jesus. Props to whoever did that. Oh, well timed. Jesus. Between Predator and Naru and the focus rack, like... Oh. You're so close. No, though. No. Oh, jeez, that was close still. Oh, I get what you got to think for masks, my guy. No.
Hey!
Oh. Jeez. Oh. Cheater. Not so tough when you're invisible.
This is as far as I go.
No.
This is it.
No.
Oh, no. Just the white hot in her eyes. Oh. Not going out without a fight, though. Oh. Oh. They're really great at emphasizing things with sound. Like the way they framed that, like you knew his moment was nigh, but like, ugh. Like they're really good at sort of arresting you in the moment with an interesting sound choice or something like that. You be keeping watch all this time? You really are the best boy. Oh, my dude's back. Of course, this guy is the one who made it. Jesus Christ. No. That's one fierce slap bracelet. This guy's eyes are just always about to pop right out of his head. Oh, that's twisted. Oh, no.
You think that I'm not a hunter like you? And I'm not a threat.
Oh.
That is what makes me dangerous.
Yeah. Ain't gonna see you coming.
You can't see. But I'm killing you.
Excuse me?
Demo!
Oh, yeah. Oh. Oh. That can't be. I mean, are you doing okay? How much of your brain is left after that? You want your helmet? How many abs does he have? She, that, I don't know, you know, predator. You don't need to gender the predator. Ooh, nice. Oh, that was awesome. Oh. Love that. It's that touch with the glowing, translucent blood. Ooh. Ow. Oh, take that, bro. Oh. Jeez. Oh, he's mad now. He's very mad he underestimated you. Now he's actually trying. Oh. Oh, shit. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus, no. Oh. Oh. Yes. Hog time. Oh, shit. Think I give a shit about some sinkhole?
This is as far as you go. No more. This is it.
This is it. Oh. Oh yeah. Oh. Yep. Yes. Oh my God. You earned that. So gooey. I told you guys it was bigger than a bear. So cool the way they painted that on her face. Like, I don't know, I feel like that could easily look silly, but it It does look convincing. And like such a literal contrast too to when Tabe comes back with the nice, man. Hell yeah. Oh. God, that was very cool. That flew by too. Like, it was really, really tight. Things that are paced well and use their style to enhance every little emotional nuance are tight. I love that. The actual, like, cave-painted Predator. God, well done. I gotta say, I mean, as much as the opening title sequence is something that I love, you know, a good, interesting opening title, I do appreciate that people throw down for these, you know, creative end credit sequences as well. Those are for people like me. And again, man, the title, Prey, like, it's perfect. Oh. The Predator will return for the Comanche Nation. Wow. See, that's cool too, because I think Greg brought this up in the interview too, is like, as much as these are exploitation movies, like this does feel very earnest in the way that it portrays the Comanche and the way that it uses their sort of way of life as the setting and the sort of time and place. This is a really nice blend between something that, yeah, feels authentic to the time. I'm no expert on, you know, Native American history or anything like that, but yeah, just like the way that it took time to observe those things and then also do a bunch of, you know, crazy Predator shit, like, is really, really well balanced and pitched and conceived. Hey, ADI! I should have known, yeah. Amalgamated Dynamics, they do a lot of the Predator stuff. Back in the old days at Fangoria, we went there, we visited, we did a Blood and Guts episode about it. All right, I think we are good on all the different credit scenes that there could be. I'm going to take the risk, and we are going to hop into the review. Yeah? All right, man. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you've been here with me this whole time or for the reaction highlights or whatever, I mean, I think it's pretty evident that I quite enjoyed this movie. And, you know, I mean, when we did the trailer reactions at the outset, I was reasonably optimistic. I mean, you know, as everyone up until this point has clarified and you know, reiterated, the Predator franchise is of varying quality. But, you know, the promise of, you know, something a little more simple and a little more straightforward and a little more back to basics for Predator seemed, you know, like a good one. And that's a choice I appreciate in general. You know, when you take something that is, you know, science fiction heavy or very futuristic, or that relies on a certain amount of, like, futuristic technology or weaponry or things like that, when you take, you know, that idea and then you transplant it into a time that's much more rudimentary or analog or just, you know, based on the elements and on nature, I feel like that can temper the science fiction in a really rewarding way that forces, you know, the filmmakers to get a little clever. Like, it's not the same kind of thing, but like when, you know, going from watching like the MCU and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. then to checking out Agent Carter was like a really nice breath of fresh air, because while Agent Carter still had like a lot of the sci-fi context and, you know, scenarios and MacGuffins and whatever, it was often tempered by the fact that we were in like the 30s and 40s. Very different from this time and place, but a similar kind of, again, the word I keep going for is tempering, of the fact that, yeah, it's like you're not in the future, it's not spaceships, nobody has like machine guns. Like, the weapons that you have are either made out of, again, found objects, wood and string, or else they're like very rudimentary guns for the most part. And that goes to highlight in a situation like this too, I think, especially the idea that it's not the weapon, you know, so much as it is the wielder, the hunter, you know, the Predator itself. And trusting Dan Trachtenberg from things like 10 Cloverfield Lane, and just, again, the interesting hook of this historical fiction period piece crashed into, you know, something that looks pretty familiar like a Predator movie. Yeah, I had a lot of optimism coming into this, but I was just constantly surprised at every turn by just how much care and how much just attention to detail in almost every regard seemed to have gone into this movie. Like, you know, it would have been pretty easy, I think, to make this, relatively speaking, to make this a satisfying, cool movie. But I guess pretty easy is probably the wrong phrase, all things considered. But, you know, I feel like they could have easily made a pretty good Predator movie that wasn't necessarily a good movie, whereas here I think it manages to be both. And as much as I like Predators, I feel like that might be what holds that movie back from certain people's like full enthusiasm, is like, yeah, as a movie it might not be that great. As a Predator movie, it's pretty cool. But yeah, this movie I think manages very successfully to be both, and I would happily like have this movie kind of like separated in some kind of, you know, defusion in a fission machine or something like that, and I would probably still watch both movies. I would probably just watch like the silent film about Predator tracking through the woods, and, you know, the Comanche movie about this girl coming of age and going on, you know, this spiritual rite of passage. I really gotta kind of commend everyone involved for helping it sort of transcend that into being, you know, not more than it needs to be, but like really, really conscientiously and really thoughtfully what it needs to be. And it does bring elements that you don't necessarily need in a Predator movie, but I think really help this movie. And I mean, I think I think Greg said this in his interviews with the cast, you know, he said this was the most he'd cared about a character in the Predator franchise. I mean, obviously everyone loves Arnold, Dutch, but yeah, I mean, they give you this juxtaposition of the Predator doing its hunter thing, you know, traversing the galaxy, searching for, you know, to steal the it word of a couple years ago, the apex predator of whatever ecosystem he's in, squaring off with that, you know, creature, whatever it may be, and bringing back that head as a trophy. And then on the other side of that, you have, you know, this young budding warrior who wants to prove her salt but is having trouble with that. And yeah, you have this very sort of thoughtful and I don't know, very natural kind of depiction, it would seem, of life in this Comanche camp. And, you know, again, the what do they call it? The katamia. I hope I'm saying that right. The sort of the rite of passage, the coming of age ritual, in which you sort of pick your, you know, the predator, or yeah, again, the themes of prey and predator are so like well laced into like every scene of this movie. Just the way different creatures and people and all different points on the food chain kind of occupy both of those roles in different points in time. So I'm probably going to say the words predator and prey a lot in here. But yeah, you know, you have your sort of white whale that you need to go out and slay as part of this coming of age mission. And I liked the nuances that came of that, especially with the mom and the brother. You know, the way she kind of checks Naru in the middle point of the movie where, you know, Tabe has to bring her back. And she says, you know, like, it's not about hunting. It's not about proving yourself as a hunter necessarily. It's about surviving. And it is an interesting thing. I mean, it's not comforting, I'm sure, to hear that, because, you know, you got to achieve. But this movie, again, like, around every corner kept impressing me with the things it chose to embellish in spite of how simple certain aspects of it are. It's a simple journey, in a sense, for this character in terms of a story. You know, she wants to prove herself to her tribe and her family, and she wants to be taken seriously, and she wants to prove to herself that she has the ability to, you know, follow her instincts for tracking and for hunting, and, you know, to serve the tribe in that way, and to be recognized for those skills, not just the skills of medicine, but too, even still not, like, eschewing those either by the end. Like, as a character journey, I thought they did really nicely to sort of bring her full circle by the end, you know, to bring her to a sort of completion, or to like a next iteration, you know, in her growth and her journey. But yeah, like, to show somebody who has a whole lot of potential at the outset, who has natural skills and abilities, but who needs to hone them and who needs to mature in the face of the elements and in the face of all the interconnecting concerns of a hunt and, you know, the tribe ecosystem, just the ecosystem of the land around. And two, I mean, the way the movie utilizes the elements as its own sort of natural but still predatory force is really well engaged, and is something that I think is another one of those primal aspects that, you know, even if you're not used to spending a lot of time outdoors, you know, you could still relate to, you know, if you were thrust into that situation, you would have these things, probably just as many things at your disposal. So, like, there is something innate about that I think, too, they use very nicely to their advantage and as a foil just as much as it is sort of an asset to the characters. And, I mean, props to the entire cast, but especially to Amber Midthunder and Dakota Beavers as well for just, like, really throwing themselves full-heartedly, it appears, into these roles and into, you know, both the acting side of it but also the physical side of it, just like getting out into the elements and, you know, doing this combat and riding and you know, digging around in the muck and the mud and everything. Like, really, really challenging, I would imagine, to be on set for. But also, I mean, I just thought they really committed and really brought the authenticity and sold the whole thing wonderfully. Again, they just put so much more care and effort than they had to, and I really, really love that because, again, it's both in the writing, like the dialogue and the story at hand isn't like the most crazy, intricate, deep thing, but the combination of the dialogue and the just character journey they created, combined with the performances, I think just really made this come to life in a way that, like, really makes it easy to sink into perspectives, and that's on the filmmaking, too. I mean, hats off to Dan Trachtenberg's direction, because the way the movie shifts between perspectives, and I mean, I'm talking like character perspectives, but sometimes you're in the Predator's perspective, sometimes you're in the perspective of just animals and things like that, and the way the camera sometimes even glides you between those things in the same shot with a rack of focus or a subtle, you know, angle shift or whatever, a subtle motion. Like, there's so many great, really solid choices, and there are cool shots and shit, and there's like a bunch of stuff that's really striking. But all of that stuff is really well chosen, I feel like. Like, this is a great example, again, of like a really solidly directed movie that has like a bunch of cool stuff in it, but it's like really concerned on just selling and enhancing and embellishing the most important aspects, which in this are, you know, your characters, to make sure that you actually care about what's going on, so there's not just a bloodbath, and then, yeah, like paying homage to and giving us those like nerdy fan moments that we want to see of the Predator. And I liked very much the way that they built the Predator up over the course of the movie, and these little appearances, you know, the ship goes by, and intermingling that with folk tales and things like that. I forget the certain names she says at one point when she's describing, you know, what she saw to the other guys who, you know, she's hunting with and who are, you know, sort of like keeping an eye on her while Tabe's out looking for her, and you know, she says it like looks like this mythical creature, and, you know, there's like the Firebird myth that I think they name check at one point, you know, like, and I'm no expert on these things, so I cannot like reiterate them for you here and now off the dome, but yeah, like the way that they played that into, you know, folklore and sort of spiritual belief, and then, you know, even though we know it's not quite that, it kind of is, and like it's those little philosophical flourishes too that I think are kind of nice, because yeah, like it is her katamia eventually, like whether you like it or not, you know, like she is the one who kind of notices and knows to take the Predator seriously, and two, like I love the theme they use of it not seeing her as a threat, and it's, you know, I mean, anytime you have a female lead in a movie like this that's known for like macho doodly characters, I feel like people get up in arms about wokeness and Crime Area Sue, but I thought they made like a really great, wonderful character journey in a physical sense. Like, not only are you watching, you know, her her self-worth improvement, and we're watching her, you know, persevere and use, you know, the best of her knowledge and instincts, but we watch her really have to learn and observe, and it is in that sense of, you know, using that underestimation as an asset. Like, it doesn't see me as a threat, but that's what makes me threatening now, is because I've been able to observe. Like, you watch the Predator tracking and stuff throughout the movie, and Naru's kind of doing that too, and even in that sense you kind of have like this sort of like polar sort of attraction that leads them together through the action of the story. And two, I thought they had clever takes on that theme of invisibility, of cloaking yourself to avoid, I mean, literally usually the Predator's, you know, thermal vision, but doing that on multiple levels where it's like, yeah, they have a means of you know, becoming invisible by ingesting the orange Tootsie of the flower, but also, you know, she has that added layer, at least for Naru, where it's, you know, he doesn't see me because he's not concerned with me. And I thought the way that they, you know, utilized that, I'll talk about that a little bit more in a bit, but the way that they utilized that, I thought was a nice twofold that almost like helped that they homaged the whole getting caked in mud thing without actually having to use that. Because like that's the one thing about like Predators is like Adrian Brody at one point pretty much just does the Dutch and covers himself in mud, and like it's cool and all that. But I thought here like they came up with ways to use that, but as both a theme and a physical phenomenon that's not the exact same thing. So just like props for like Easter egging and expounding on that, you know? Yeah, and I mean, even the Predator, like, you know, I like too that this is, you know, 300 odd years in our past currently. And, you know, I don't have the best grip on, like, I can't pinpoint every Predator movie on the timeline, but in setting this beforehand, you know, I feel like it also gives you this kind of interesting view on, like, because the Predator doesn't speak, you can kind of ascribe any sort of other story detail headcanon you want to it. So in a way, it's almost like this Predator is on its own sort of journey of at least conquest, perhaps some kind of, you know, coming of age or rite of passage for, you know, that species of predators. Also, just a sidebar, but I love the sort of tweaked design they went with for the Predator. I mean, it's obviously very much akin to the designs that have come before or that will come in the future. But yeah, with the slightly more narrow face and again, that bone plate sort of giving it, again, a slightly more tribal and a slightly more primitive aesthetic to sort of match, again, being so far removed in time or being so far back in the past. Like, I thought that was, again, subtle tweaks. And I think there are definitely like gadgets and guns and stuff like that are like direct Easter eggs from other Predator movies. But I thought the design choice here was really cool and really suited, again, without being a direct overhaul, just the aesthetic of the movie at hand. But even so, like, I thought that was complimentary, and there were so many things that had these like dual components or that would, you know, be important at one point or come up at one point and then come back, whether it be like the sinkhole at first being this like major obstacle for Naru to, you know, figure her way out of, and then later to come back and use as part of her ultimate, you know, finishing move. But yeah, like all that stuff, like even running into the trappers and sort of seeing too, I loved that, like that switcheroo, like you see this field full of decimated buffalo or bison or whatever, and you think to yourself like, oh my god, you know, Predator's really laying it down. But then the further you get and the more you realize, like, but they couldn't have been like that threatening, right? Like, they're not the apex predators of the region. They're not, you know, the bears or the wolves or the snakes or whatever. So yeah, I love that switcheroo of like the cigar as a sort of, not MacGuffin, but just, yeah, like a sign, a harbinger of like, oh no, it's not what you think. And I feel like that's something that, you know, it's like I would have almost missed that. But yeah, like having even that come around is like, okay, you know, there's monstrousness within us, and there's that sort of primal, like when your back's up against the wall, you just have to, you know, either fight or die in this situation. If you're up against a predator, there's pretty much two choices. But yeah, like the way that they kind of constructed this very naturally unfolding journey. They're, you know, out, there's a lion in the area. It's slashed up one of their, you know, tribes people, and they got to go, you know, find the lion and you know, neutralize it and bring it back and kind of restore order to the food chain of the area. And then, yeah, that kind of, yeah, just like intersecting with this predator's just sort of walkabout of, you know, supremacy of just, you know, like taking on all the greatest, you know, beasts in the area and whatnot, and they just happen to stumble upon these guys. But even so, like, I really enjoyed, again, I've used the word probably tangibility a lot. I like the tangibility of this quite a bit because, you know, you really do feel like you feel the land, you feel some of the time that it takes to get places and the distance. And again, like I said this before, it's like, you know, 10 Cloverfield Lane does so much with a tight, confined space. In this movie, obviously you're outdoors for pretty much all of it, unless you're, you know, inside a hut or a teepee or something. So, you know, you wring a lot of, I guess, agoraphobia out of that, and claustrophobia, because of, you know, the things that can be lurking between trees. And I thought they did a really nice job, too, in this movie of using the Predator's cloaking ability as sort of its own presence. Like, for so much of the movie, even though you know what's coming, I feel like the cloaking mechanism is especially useful for something like this, because you can only do so many flybys before you have to have an actual, like, no predator appearance. And I thought the way that they used the stealth, especially for when he's, you know, like, quietly observing things, like, I would be curious to go back and look through this and see, like, are there more times where you can see him lurking than you even realize? But yeah, like, the way that they used that, and the way that in the different, you know, altercations, the different fights and things, like, it would spark and you would see, like, patches and stuff like that. Like, I thought that was a really just sort of sinister and really cool looking motif that, again, you know, it goes to show that while that's like a major asset, and while the Predator does have, like, you know, so many abilities to just make the fight, like, unfair, you know, like, he's got, like, tracking and you know, he can pinpoint targets and all that other stuff, and, you know, he's got these blades, and, you know, it's things like that that helped kind of even the playing field and make it feel like, yeah, you know, this is an alien being from an advanced race engineered to hunt and kill. But, you know, I believe that part of the point of doing that, and part of maybe even the thrill, if you want to ascribe such a, you know, emotional value to a predator, is the risk, you know, is the danger factor. Is, like, what would be the point if not to say that you brought back the skull of something particularly dangerous? And I love the choice to set this in the Comanche Nation, to set this among people who live off the land and who, you know, really know how to make everything you need to survive out of everything that is just kind of here now and doesn't need a, you know, it's like the figuring out is in, you know, like making the gurney. Like, I love that scene where she's applying the ointments and they are, you know, taking bits and pieces and they're making this gurney, and they are doing it like clockwork because they have to. And it's like, you can see how Tabe is, you know, in his position. And I loved, again, like I called out in the reaction, it's like I really enjoyed that they made him a real nuanced character that, you know, does seem to care for his sister. He has his own pride, but he does stick up for her, and he does support her, especially as the rest of the, you know, tribe that they're with is, you know, laughing at her and belittling her and whatever else. You know, I really enjoyed their relationship together, and I like that, you know, like, yeah, he is, you know, an instrumental part of it. And then you have that flipperoo, whereas at the, you know, when they do the lion hunt, you know, it's her plan and he puts his faith in her, and she is instrumental in getting it done, which he ultimately admits to later, but she didn't, yeah, fully bring it home. He needed to complete that. Whereas at the end, it's the reverse. It's like he is able to help. He's able to get her that critical window. But she's the one who, over the course of this, went out and looked for this creature and observed its habits and its fight style and how it hunts and all that stuff. Like, she gets this fascinatingly, like, you know, hyper physical and fight or flight, but also, like, very oddly kind of intimate glimpse at how this creature works. And I think, again, that linchpin, and I know, you know, I don't know, if he saw her as a threat at one point, I guess you could argue, like, why didn't he just kill her anyway? But I liked that motif, and I liked giving the Predator a bit of agency, because, like, the body language I thought was really great. Like, I really loved the blend of, I'm sure there's a lot of CG shots, but I also really got the sense of the actor in the suit, you know, bringing some of that slasher movie personality. You know, I mean, the noise and the articulation of the, you know, face and the mask, or, you know, puppeteering, all the combination of that movie magic brings that to life. But too, just the thought that the Predator might be able to make a choice like that, make a decision like that regarding its hunt, and then, you know, have that come back around, like, that read as a true thing to me that you might encounter just out in the wild in the sort of natural order of a, you know, hostile food chain. So yeah, like, this was just an experience where, again, like, the music, like, I really appreciated that too. Like, I thought they did nicely to ground the music in, you know, like there's certain flavors that I'm sure like tropey by this point that you expect to hear in a Native American setting, no matter what that is. You expect to hear like drums or flutes and things like that, or certain vocalizations, and there is that, and there is, I think, tasteful use of that, but there are also just period appropriate instruments, and then where appropriate, it seems as well, certain like synth flourishes. And yeah, I thought they really expressively used the music in a way that felt, again, very natural and sort of tangible, even though it is, you know, part of the more heightened aspect of movie magic. But yeah, like the sound effects, especially like that tomahawk hitting the wood each time, and that you know, the tomahawk with the rope on it, you know, like great call. It reminded me of, I don't know what that martial art is called, but you know, where you have like the dagger on the end of the rope. Yeah, just like this had so many great elements that like are befitting of the cool, fun shit you want from an, you know, Predator movies or exploitation movies. They're fun, action, horror, you know, adventures in their own way, but they're also exploitation movies. And so you have those exploitable elements, but you also have an earnest story and also an earnest depiction of its, you know, subjects in, you know, the sort of culture, the Comanche Nation that they chose to sort of center the story around and to sort of build their characters out of. Like, that was something that I was very curious about going into this, because obviously you see, like, it's an indigenous cast for the most part, pretty much completely, and you know, there are people working behind the scenes, producers and whatnot, who are of Comanche descent, as well as, you know, various other indigenous cultures. But it's one of those things where you see it and you're like, this could easily just be like a nifty idea that they're not going to really dive into at all, that is just going to be kind of a skin to lay over top of this to make it seem like it's fresh. You know, there are a lot of ways that this could have been cynical or trite, but I thought they really, too, while it's not like a deep historical dive into, you know, the nuances of Comanche life, it does take time to observe that, though. Like, when you're in the camp, you know, it lets you drink in those details, and it seems like they really did just kind of build what appears to be an actual camp and just kind of let life unfold there as it might have, and the way they chose to capture that just felt very, again, observant and compassionate, and, you know, very informed by something authentic. You know, like, it seemed like they really cared to make this life feel real and tangible, and as well informed by, you know, some actual history as possible. So yeah, like, even if it's not the quote-unquote point, I was really happy to see that they didn't just use it as just kind of like, oh, it's a neat, you know, kind of a gimmick. I guess that's it. It wasn't a gimmick for this movie. It was very, very much ingrained in the heart and soul and the core story of this. And so that's something that, like, again, I was a little worried they might fumble, but they very much did not. And you have really beautiful cinematography with really beautiful lighting that really puts you in the setting. And then, too, like, I'm really excited to watch the Comanche dub of this, because, I mean, I don't know. I love seeing things like this that very naturally kind of lend a platform and very naturally kind of give people a reason to sort of take an interest in history or a different culture or whatever. And yeah, so, like, I'm really excited to watch the dub and just sort of take it in that way. But I love the way that they, too, kind of use a certain level of, like, there's dialogue. Obviously, it drives a lot of the story, you know, of the personal journey of Naru and her, you know, close, you know, her brother and her tribe and all that stuff. But there's so much of this movie that is just about body language and physicality, and there is a lot of the story that could be told without words, you know? And so I like, too, that even language can be a barrier and can represent sort of, I don't know, the difference between winding up predator or prey in a certain situation. You know, ostensibly the guy who is like the one vaguely sympathetic dude with the French camp with the trappers, you know, it's like, I guess he could have spoken to Tabe, but, like, you know, their ability and willingness to communicate in that moment, you know, it's like you hear French and they don't subtitle it, so you're like, you're kept on the outside. And that too, like, I think during the trailer we had theorized that these would be, like, you know, English speaking settlers of some sort. But I love that choice too, because that's another thing that makes you go like, oh, wait a minute, so let me figure out where exactly in the plains we are, and let me go crack a history book again, because that's kind of interesting. But also, yeah, like, it creates, again, another barrier that puts you sets you uneasy. You know, it's another way in which you could, you know, like lose that critical edge in being able to, you know, scrape out of a situation or avoid, you know, some kind of ill fate. And I mean, they are like a pretty horrible bunch for the most part, so it does make for a very sort of satisfying slashery kind of Act 3 when they're all getting hacked up and they tie them to the, you know, big stump and they, you know, are using them as bait. But yeah, like watching just the whole thing crescendo into some really cool action sequences with, again, the requisite amounts of like gore and viscera and like really kind of cringe-inducing, stomach-churning gags. But again, it's not just gore. Like, there is a good amount of blood, but like there's that one shot where they cut really wide and it's the spray out in the field. I thought that was really striking. Or, you know, when he does the thing with the snake, you know, you see it through the back of the camouflage. So like there are clever ways of not quite showing you or not showing you in certain moments that, again, just speak to a certain level of like sophistication, I feel like, in the direction. I feel like, you know, you can approach something like this with a certain amount of gusto and a certain amount of sort of abandon, but also I think, you know, like clever uses of restraint or clever kind of turns of the screw on a certain detail or whatever can just make all the difference. And so yeah, this is one of those movies that manages to kind of transcend what it is by just doing what it's trying to do really well and with a ton of consideration and with the right amount of compassion. And again, like, it's a really great movie at showcasing perspectives just as much as it is at building up horror and putting you like right into the adrenaline rush of these, you know, crazy ass fight sequences. And yeah, like the way she ultimately takes the Predator down, I was like, you know what? In this heightened little world, I do believe this. I do believe that after all she's learned, and with that edge of figuring out that the helmet is the crucial bit, those targeting lasers are the crucial bit, if she can co-opt that and she can trap him and she can, you know, use all of her other skills, if she can make herself invisible. And I love that too. They faked us out with the mud. She takes the orange tutsia, I think they call it, you know, the flower that makes your blood all cold. And of course, I mean, that's a bit of an action movie moment because she's not like convulsing, but you know, who knows, maybe she'd been microdosing very often up until that point to build up a tolerance. But yeah, like, you know, she steps aside as the guy walks up to the really horrible, nasty trapper guy, and yeah, it's like she uses her original plan. She lures him out with the bait, and then she uses the gun. The gun finally works, and I love that too. Like, the guns rarely amount to much. They do a couple times, but you get like that one guy with the ricochet, like killing himself basically. And then, you know, Naru obviously taking the shot at the back of the Predator's head. But like, yeah, the way they earn her taking him down at the end, at least to me, felt very well assembled and very well acted and very well conceived from a story standpoint. Because yeah, you are watching two budding hunters learn, and one is obviously at an advantage and knows a lot more, and is, you know, the odds are stacked in one side's favor at the beginning, obviously. But the way they went about, you know, making that story, you know, come together and making her, you know, sort of this triumphant figure by the end, I really enjoyed it, and I felt like it was very much earned. And I liked the way that they took a few different kinds of movie here. You know, you have your Predator movie, your action horror monster movie, but you also have, you know, like I said, I think early on in the reaction, like when you dip out of that and you just go back to life in the camp for a little while, or life as they're on this hunt, you really get pulled into that stuff too. And the movie cares just as much about that stuff and knows how to make that stuff just as engaging from a character level, but also as engaging from just an action, from an intensity level. That, yeah, like all the pieces are interesting and all the pieces are just the right amount. Nothing really outstays its welcome. Nothing feels too brief to me. Like, this was a slam dunk. Like this is all that it needed to be, and all the right kinds of more, as far as I'm concerned. So I had a blast with this, if you couldn't tell. Leave me your thoughts. I would love to hear what you guys thought of this. I hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me, and yeah, we will catch you for more movie reactions going forward. This is a lot of fun, and yeah, sound off in the comments, like and subscribe and all that good stuff, and I'll catch you on the next one. Much love, and as always, cheers.